Wally and Roger left Altamira on the morning of August 1st, planning to refuel in northern Washington and then on to Ketchikan. After Ketchikan, our destination was Glacier Point, on the Lynn Canal, near the foot of Davidson Glacier. We had a very nice visit to the town of Skagway. While listening to the professional river guides describing what we could expect ahead of us, I kept thinking, huh? On August 3rd, we overflew the proposed route of the Tatsunshinni and Alsac rivers to Dry Bay. I kept thinking how cold the water might be should we have to swim for it between those floating icebergs. We positioned Howard and Jim's 180s at Dry Bay, so we had a way to get home after we got off the river. This was our transportation from Haines to Dalton Post. In the quiet evenings around dinner time, we could count on Jim Moore's voice quoting Robert Service.
There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge I cremated Sam McGee.
I think this is the fastest flowing stretch of the river that we encountered.
Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, "It's the cursed cold, and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet, 'tain't being dead, it's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains." A pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail, and we started on at the shriek of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched on the sleigh, and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee, and before nightfall, the corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee.
Walking on Walker Glacier was a gas.
Things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge I cremated Sam McGee.
What lay before us was a special adventure, paddling between icebergs on Alsac Lake. During the conversation with the river guides at Haines, they told us about the wind moving the ice and blocking the entrance to Alsac Lake. During our time on the rivers, we saw very few people. This happens to be a group that we encountered at Alsac Lake. Paddling around the icebergs was a little bit eerie. We were well aware that they could turn over at any moment. We witnessed an unusual sight on the river leading out of Alsac Lake. When the icebergs melted down to a smaller sized ice ball, they would get caught in the river outflow and start rolling. We paddled down the river between them. Our last challenge on the river was to find this little turnoff to Dry Bay. After landing the rafts at Dry Bay, Howard flew Wally to Haines to get his bird and returned. We loaded up the rafts and gear into the airplanes and flew to Yucatan to spend the night.
Have you gazed on naked grandeur when there's nothing else to gaze on? Set pieces and drop curtain scenes galore. Big mountains heave to heaven with the blinding sunsets blazing. Black canyons where the rapids rip and roar. Have you swept the vision valley with the green stream streaking through it? Searched the vastness for a something you have lost? Have you strung your soul to silence? Then for God's sake, go and do it. Hear the challenge. Learn the lesson, pay the cost.